Good morning, my name is Stephen Capaldo and it is Thursday, February 8th, 2024. Thank you for tuning in. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the aspects of the matrix that the elites are using to try to hurt people, and there's no doubt that the matrix has bad things in store for us, but we have a choice to make. We can come to Christ and we can increase in our spiritual love, and we can rise spiritually and grow, and we can survive as we go through. Not only survive, but we can even have abundance, and we can even prosper. And I don't mean financial prosperity. There may be some of that, but it's really we can have abundance as we drive through all of this, as we go through all of this. And it's been said many times, I've said it a few times, that this year is going to be a very important year as far as change and exposure of different things. And so I think that the best thing that we can do is just to keep talking as best we can. Whatever platforms we have, keep talking about what's going on, and what we should be doing to prepare ourselves to grow and to transcend and to thrive spiritually, to become truly the spiritual beings that God has called us to be, because we are spirit beings, really. We're going through this life now in a physical suit, but really we are spiritual beings connected to a soul which is eternal, and we're going through this physical lifetime in the body suit. The body suit eventually fades away, you get a different type of body, and this is what you want to do. Some people will get it and some people won't, but that's really an individual choice. And I was listening to a video the other day about survival. The fellow was saying survival is not really a team sport, and it sounds like almost a selfish thing, but it really isn't if you think about it, because survival starts with your relationship with Christ. Do you have a relationship with God and Christ and the Spirit, the Creator? So that it starts with what you are individually, and then it grows. If you have this love of God in you, then you can share the love of God in you that is in you. You can share it with others, and your love quotient, your love frequency, whatever you want to call it, goes up. It continues to go up, and you proceed through life with what you need and living in your calling. And that's really what God wants us to do, is to live in a calling. And people are wondering, why things are going wrong for them. Well, are they truly living in their calling? Have they truly been seeking God and seeking truth? So I'm just going to go through a few of the things. I have some press clippings from a pretty good alternative newspaper that I was subscribed to at one point, and I got a complimentary copy of it in my mailbox a couple of weeks ago, the Epic Times it's called. And I'm just going to go over a little bit about the border and a little bit about the food supply and some banking stuff. And also one thing that the Matrix is also very keen on doing, very intent on doing, is to remove anything that would bring joy. For example, music at the right type of music played the right way. Music has healing properties. I think that really shouldn't be in dispute if you've really done work on that and learned something about that. But of course, the Matrix tries to remove that which is good, that which is helpful, or to give us music that is not healthy, that is the wrong type of music played the wrong way. So I'll just touch a little bit on that as well. So the first one has to do with the border, and I'm going to mention a little bit about politics, and this isn't really about politics for me. The way I'm approaching this is that it really is a spiritual battle. It's divine angels, fallen angels, and you have to decide which side of that you're on. You have to decide what your viewpoint of Christ is, and then go that way. But for the 3D mind, the five senses and all of that, people like to think of this as Democratic and Republican, and really it's much more than that. It's much bigger than that. It's much deeper than that. Nihilism is the religion of the left. Anarchy is now at the core of the new Democratic Party. If the left wished to radically alter the demography of the United States, it could have expanded legal immigration through legislation or the courts. Instead, it simply erased the border and dynamited federal immigration law. By fiat, nihilists ended the wall and stopped detaining and deporting illegal aliens altogether. And this is really, it's very simple to know that this is not of God, because God is not the author of confusion. when you simply say people can just move as they want. And eventually, in the new earth, we'll be able to move as we want. But right now we have we have the rule of law, we have a system of law, and simply opening a border, and especially opening the U.S. border, because the U.S. Spiritually and physically has done things maybe that have caused envy, but also a lot of people don't like the U.S. for where it stands on a number of things, and the things that the U.S. has done historically, things the U.S. is doing now, fighting all these wars and everything. And part of the disintegration of the U.S. is opening up the borders. You have too many people chasing too few goods and services, and there's not the money, there's all this fiat money to cover it, and all kinds of debt and this type of thing. So it's a very good way to undermine a country. A country is supposed to have a language and a culture and borders. Now there might be, Canada has two main groups, so you have two languages, but it has a culture and it has borders. But those are being destroyed now too. But that's really kind of the one definition, maybe an ordinary citizen's, an everyday citizen's definition of a country is that you have a border, and you have a language, or more than one if that's your history, and you have a culture, you have a group of practices, things that you do, traditions that you have that make you, that make as a country, as a collective, that makes you. And by opening the border to just anybody, which is fine, the U.S. and a few other countries have always have for a long time had immigration programs, and that's not a problem to have a legal immigration program. That's good. It adds diversity, it adds strength, it adds skills, it adds a different perspective to the population. But to just to open the border in a chaotic fashion, with really no real rules, this is a good way to destroy a country, and that's part of the Matrix plot, is to destroy any country that has any kind of semblance of rule of law, any kind of history or tradition of faith, or any kind of economic stability, anything like that. And of course the U.S. is one of those countries, perhaps even the leading country, depending on your point of view. But now the U.S. has fallen into disrepute. I mean, the reputation of the U.S. right now is very bad. You could arguably say that right now the most dangerous country in the world is the U.S. It's dangerous inside because the borders have been, by and large, eliminated, and it's dangerous outside because of all these wars, the never-ending wars. So you could say that the number one dangerous terrorist country in the world right now is the U.S. But the U.S. has engaged in this so-called war on terror since the 9/11 event, and trying to divert or deflect attention from its own misdeeds and putting it all onto others, saying that it's all 100% the responsibility of others, and that the U.S. government is this beacon of purity in an impure world, right? And really, it's kind of the opposite now. By fiat, nihilists ended the wall and stopped detaining and deporting illegal aliens altogether. Or was it worse than that, when presidential candidate Joe Biden in September 2019 urged would-be illegal aliens to surge the border? As a result, through laxity and entitlement incentives, 8 million illegal entrants have swarmed the southern border under the Biden administration. They're swamping border towns, bankrupting big city budgets, and infuriating even Democratic constituencies. The same nihilism applies to crime. In the old days, liberals gave light sentences to criminals or reduced bail, but today leftist prosecutors do not even seek bail. They hardly prosecute theft or random assaults. And so he goes into this business about crime. He kind of slides into it as a result of the lax border or no border or no enforcement. You have border agents there that really are supposed to be like, you remember the welcome wagon lady that used to come when you were new in the neighborhood? Well, the border agents are sort of the welcome wagon people. This is what you do now. You're going to be in the U.S. and, we'll give you a court date appearance in a few years. And of course, wink, wink, if you would appear at such a court date, in 2 or 3 years, you must not be too bright. So it's really just become kind of a totally chaotic system. Chaos, once you see chaos, you know it's not the work of God. Once you truly see chaos, and not just someone, everybody accuses Trump of chaos, but it's really, where is the chaos? It's when you cause your country to disintegrate, because of no border and attacks on people and crime. And even the language thing, I think it's great. I studied languages, and I think it's great to know other languages, but it really, there should be a common language among people who are citizens or live permanently in the country. There should be at least one common language. And of course, if you have other family languages, you want to learn other languages, use them professionally, whatever you want to do, I'm all in favor of that. But as a matter of national policy, how are people going to communicate if they don't have a common language? And you don't have to be a scholar in that language, but communicate, right? It's about the border, and I'll give you some verses from the text if you want to check things out. You can check out Matthew 7:13-15 and Proverbs 16:25 about false prophets, narrow gates, discernment, this type of thing. And another one that I wanted to touch on a little bit was the poisoning of the food supply. And I found a pretty interesting article from this newspaper about two chemicals that are found in many foods that are really not good for you. And someone offered me, a few weeks ago, someone offered me some Doritos at a gathering. And I said, well, I don't really want to eat Doritos. Flip the package around, look at the back of it, look at the ingredients in it. First of all, do you even know what these things are? And secondly, if you don't know what they are, is it good to be eating them? And I tried not to make it too judgmental, just kind of to warn the person, as I don't eat stuff if I don't understand what's in it. It's probably not a good thing. It's just like the old thing about when you go to the supermarket, you shop around the sides, you don't go down the middle, because down the middle has all the processed stuff and the chemicals and all that stuff, and you tend to have fresh, fruit and vegetables, whatever, around the edge of the supermarket. So anyway, researchers examined the foods for the presence of plasticizers, a chemical used to boost the durability of plastics. Now, what kind of an image is that? Ingesting plastics. What do you think that does? The group analyzed 2 to 3 samples from each food item, looking for 2 types of common plasticizers. Bisphenols, I don't know if it's bisphenols or bisphenols and phthalates, as well as some of their substitutes. Exposure to such plasticizers, bisphenols and phthalates, can cause severe health issues such as the potentially negative effects on the brain and prostate glands of children, as well as their behavior caused by bisphenol A or BPA exposure. BPA, bisphenol A, has also been linked with type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and high blood pressure. Phthalates have been associated with obesity, type 2 diabetes, lower sperm motility and concentration, early puberty in girls, and cancer. Some of the top food items with the highest levels of phthalate contamination, as discovered by testing, were beverages. And they named some names here, it's very interesting. Brisk iced tea lemon, Brisk. Coca-Cola Original, Lipton Diet Green Tea Citrus, even though, they get the green tea in there, you're supposed to thinking it's healthy, right? But read what's in it. And Poland Spring, 100% natural spring water. Canned beans, Hormel chili with beans, Bush's chili red beans, mild chili sauce, and great value Walmart baked beans original. So not only the whole business of Walmart, what's going on underneath and around Walmart, but the stuff that they're selling in Walmart. And yet, I've gone there. For some things it's a convenience. It truly is a convenience, but you have to be very careful what they're putting into what you're buying. Condiments, Mrs. Butterworth Syrup Original and Hunt's Tomato Ketchup. Dairy, Fairlife Core Power High Protein Milkshake Chocolate. I'm not familiar with that one. Slim Fast High Protein Meal Replacement Shake Creamy Chocolate. Yoplait Original Low-Fat Yogurt, and Tuscan Dairy Farms Whole Milk. So that just gives you just a little bit of an introduction into what may be going into your food. So be very careful, where you shop, what you buy, and and people say organic, and I'm all in favor of trying to do that. It is more expensive, and sometimes you hear reports that organic is not really organic or not completely organic. So you just have to be very careful. So if you wanted to look at some passages, you could look at Psalm 69, 21 to 31, Job 20, 40 to 15, and you can read about food and other blessings being removed, and now you're going to have gall and vinegar and this type of thing. So that there is some hint there in the text that there could be some threats to the food supply for the foolish, disobedient nation or group of people or individuals. And I'll read a little bit now about the economy, what's going to happen with the economy. There's a very good documentary that just came out a little while ago called The Great Taking. I think that's the name of it, to show what has been going on basically for the last 20 years and how the banking system has conspired to take away people's money and give you some ideas what you can do to hang on to your money. And certainly one thing to bear in mind is the idea of property, and try to get property and try to pay for it in cash, and try to turn it into some kind of a place where you can get do some gardening and this type of thing. And I think in our family we're going to have some kind of shared garden, family garden, maybe community garden, and maybe share some other things. And I think that that's a much better way of approaching the food supply issue and the property issue, is really to try to keep things cash as much as possible. And really, title is a very tricky thing. There's something that I'm not very familiar with. It's called an allodial title, which is supposed to protect you in times when the government might be able to come after you for something. And that's something I'm going to be looking into. And I'm not really that familiar with it, but I think you want to keep in mind that try to get a hold of some land and do everything you can to keep that land, right? I mean, I think that's a good thing, and to try to be part of, some kind of food growing operation. You might, at my age, it's good to have some help to do that as well. But there are things that I can do and things that we can do together as a family, and possibly even spread out a little bit in the community. So I'll read a little bit about what might happen to the economy this year. Currently there's growing talk about the prospect of a soft landing in 2024. Nevertheless, economists remain cautious, with many expecting a bumpy ride ahead due to the lingering effects of tight monetary policy over the past 2 years. Although the economy has shown resilience in the face of numerous challenges, many analysts predict a significant slowdown in the coming months, with some even anticipating a recession. Well, I don't think it's totally crazy, and I don't know a lot about technical definitions, but could you not even say that we're in a recession? I mean, if you look around, a recession and inflation. If you look around, I don't know what it is about jobs, but wherever you go, I don't know if there's been layoffs or people don't want to work, but I just was in a couple of shops yesterday, and just the amount of time that you had to wait, to check out. It's just they don't have enough people. I mean, now why don't they have enough people? Why do they not? Do people not want to work, or there have to be layoffs? But I mean, the more layoffs you do, I mean, people are just going to find other alternatives. Go somewhere else, or just do without certain things, spend their money a different way. But there certainly is something dysfunctional about the economy now, since this this so-called COVID pandemic. And I think that's going to continue, and that's why you really have to live the spiritual life and come to Christ and live that way in order to walk through it affected, okay, but not damaged. You walk through it. And in 2023, I'll just finish this part with this, credit card and home equity line of credit rates reached an all-time high. So there you are. The credit card rates, like 20%, something like that. Home equity line of credit rates. You're not looking at the 3% anymore. You're looking at more like 20%. Mortgage rates reached a 23-year high, and new auto loan rates reached their highest level in 16 years, according to Bankrate. And it was difficult to sell the property that we had in Rhode Island, and to then we bought this one, but selling the one that we had was a difficult thing to do because there just wasn't much of a market. I mean, the younger people just couldn't pay the prices that the inflated housing market prices that you have now. Or if you were already in the housing market and you had a 3% mortgage, why would you go to an 8% mortgage? I mean, that wouldn't make sense. And eventually the deal got done. I sold one, bought another, and okay, so I changed locations, predominantly for family reasons. But this is the thing. I mean, there's not people are just kind of standing pat. But the best thing to do is to get land and hold it and have as little debt on it as possible, as much cash in it as possible, and just start using that land. And if enough people do that, it will have an impact. I believe it will have an impact. And before I close, I'll just talk a little bit about music. Just one of the things that is really healthy for us. Played the right music, played the right way. Some of the positive effects, I won't take too much time here, but it can enhance mental health, helps you express your feelings. If you have any kind of anxiety or depression or autism, the right kind of music can be calming and soothing. It can be some physical health benefits. For the researcher here, music has provided something more than an emotional boost. The melodies and rhythms provide tangible physical relief from the ravages of cancer, research affirms their experience. It could help lower blood pressure, kill cancer cells, could help improve your memory, might help babies if they're in intensive care, reduces inflammation. Inflammation is something very good that you to reduce. It's not, inflammation is not very good, but it's something very good to reduce. And you find it mostly in white bread, white flour, this type of product. But anyway, that's if you wanted to learn more about the banking situation and the collapse, you could go to something like Proverbs 22:3, 13:22, and read about discernment and things like that. Romans 13:11-14, Isaiah 3:1, how blessings can be removed, and Matthew 24:37-39 talks about things before the flood and after the flood. And music, you could go to Psalm 22:23, Psalm 40 verses 3 and 4. How music can deliver you from bad things, and it can be a positive factor, a positive force in your life. So anyway, that's a little bit about what the Matrix is trying to do to us, and what really we need to do to begin to stand up against it. And it's very important to do it, to start doing it immediately. This is it's a critical time, and we don't have a lot of time left to decide which way we're going to walk. Are we going to walk towards the darkness, or are we going to walk towards the light? We don't have a lot more time. Narrow is the gate, and we have to make up our minds. Are we on the side of the Creator and Christ and the Spirit, or are we on the other side, the Antichrist side? So thank you very much for listening, and bye for now. And so I'll just take this opportunity to ask people, if you've never believed in Jesus Christ or Yeshua Messiah, you never believed in the love of the Father, the love of the Creator, you never believed in the Holy Spirit, if you've never believed in all of that, what we call God, you never believed in the Almighty source of everything through faith in Christ Jesus, if you've never believed, ask yourself, is there a reason to believe? And would I like to believe right now and really begin to look at things in a different way? So I'll just put that on at the end of the message, and it really would start you on that path of what is known as salvation. It's not just saying you believe, it's actually living the life, but at least it's a start. It's a decision that you make, is yes, I'm going to come to Christ. So I'll leave you with that and wish you a good day, and bye for now.